Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic.
What's a house rule you thought was annoying or hated as a child, but you swear by now as an adult? Don't use the sewing scissors for cutting anything except fabric. I am so sorry, Mom. I get it now. My mom caught my brother cutting green onions with her fabric scissors. She almost fainted. You know, I never thought to use shears for green onions. Your brother might be on to something. Chores. The amount of people that grow up without knowing how to do dishes, pay bills, go grocery shopping, and cooking. It sucked having to do these things growing up, but as an adult I'm glad I knew how to get them done. As a kid it was great not having to do chores. As an adult it is horrible that doing chores wasn't normalized. The secret to chores is that they need to be completable. My parents would get me doing stuff and then when I was done they'd find something else for me to do. That was a drag. But if you've got a target to complete them, and then know you can do other stuff you want to do, that's not so bad. You do not walk into someone's bedroom without their express permission. Bedrooms have an almost sacred feeling to me. I don't want people in my bedroom and I don't want to go into someone else's without permission. I think my mom's is the only one I will willingly. Early roommates called me a vampire for chilling in doorways until I was invited in. Nah, just respect for your personal space. Make sure the house is spotless before a trip. Nothing is worse than coming home to a dirty house. Or as my mum used to say, we don't want burglars thinking we're dirty, tears of joy. Laundry needs to be in the hamper, or in the laundry room if you want it done. Absolutely not searching bedrooms to gather dirty clothes. Better yet, everyone does their own laundry, then they know how and it's one less thing for me to do. If a baby can crawl, a baby can do laundry, no slackers in this house. No clutter, clean up after yourself once you are done. I was in a thread where I said I do about an hour or so of cleaning per week and got called a liar or a slob. Had to explain that cleaning up after yourself is how this happens. My whole family cleans every night for 10 to 15 minutes. We each pick a room and attack it for a short time. Then, on Sunday Fun Day, we do the deeper cleaning. I found that adding the nightly power clean, where each of us dedicates roughly an hour a week to the house, cuts the big deep clean event from approximately 4 hours to something like 1 to 1.5 hours. Also, since it's a collaborative team effort, we found a ton of efficiencies for each other and ourselves. We've gotten markedly better at working together through the shared labor, as well. Finish a box of something, cookies, chips, cereal, etc., before opening a new one. We have hundreds of half-empty containers in our cabinets and I can't seem to train my family into having only one open at a time. I saw a comment recently where the poster said the dad used to combine all the ends of cereal boxes into one Franken cereal that the family had to finish before they bought any new boxes. Hilarious. I should acknowledge the original post here, https://www.reddit.com/r/declutter/s/jajaruskuch. Mine is filling the ice tray immediately after emptying it. Got in trouble so many times as a kid, but once I had roommates and there was always no ice and then the ice tray also being empty, 35 meters, damn near called my dad crying. I now enforce it in my household. I got so sick of having no ice I now just empty and refill it every time I use the freezer. It doesn't take long, but now I've got a fuckload of ice whenever I need it. Doing all dishes and putting the kitchen in order before going to bed. No matter how tired I am, it makes mornings so much easier and more relaxing, getting the day started with a clean slate instead of having to look at last night's dirty dishes sitting there in the sink. I started Sink Zero during COVID lockdowns and now I can't imagine going to bed without doing the dishes and picking up the kitchen. Sometimes I'll get lazy on a Friday night and leave it, but then I hate myself on Saturday. Don't eat food in your bedroom. I also removed the TV from my bedroom. I now don't stay up watching rubbish TV for no reason and I sleep so much better. Yes, my eating in my room was associated with the television, too. It feels like a luxury at first and then ends up a curse. We aren't air conditioning the neighborhood. When I come home from work, and the AC is set to 66 because that's her preferred temp, but also the windows are open but I wanted a breeze, it makes me want to put rocks in my pockets and walk into a lake. This reminds me of a friend I have that will sit in front of the AC and use a hairdryer solely for warmth. I don't think that will ever make sense to me. Turn off the damned lights when you leave a room. Lol. Opposite. This was one of those things I quickly realized was pointless when I moved out. Or, at least the obsession and rage about it was. Leaving a light on, taking a long shower, throwing out the dirty deli container rather than washing and saving, washing clothes on hot water, and running the dishwasher when it's not completely full, loading it inefficiently, are all things that will never affect my budget enough to be worth policing. I know in the past, the rule of thumb was, if you're leaving the room for more than a minute, turn off the incandescent light. I think for fluorescent lights, that time was an hour. Now that we have LEDs, you could leave those things on 24/7 and only cost yourself pennies. I still turn them off when I leave, but I also have a couple on timers that turn on before sundown and then automatically off at like 11:30 p.m. But since they're warm soft light LEDs, I don't worry at all about the cost of that 6 hours of daily use. Eating your meal at the table, without TV, and actually having a conversation with your family. This has been the one thing I really put my foot down on when I married my wife. She had 2 children already, and we've had 2 more. When we first started dating, no one ate together. Walked into the kitchen, made requests for alterations of the meal like we're short order cooks, and take their food back to their rooms. For whatever reason she really resisted. But the new rules are, sit down family dinner without devices. One meal is made, everyone stays till the last person is done. No complaining about what's for dinner, unless you want to help plan and cook. For whatever reason she really resisted. My guess is survival mode. I teach pre-K, and the number of kids who legitimately do not know how to eat at a table with any semblance of appropriate behavior is astounding. We sit down at tables and they play for 25 minutes before complaining they're still eating when we call cleanup. They're climbing over the tables and standing on their chairs, playing with their food and refusing to eat anything. At the beginning of the year, about a third of the class will legitimately have no idea how to use a fork and just ate with their hands. These are not just the high-energy or rowdy kids either. Some of the best-behaved kids struggle the most, and the most challenging ones sometimes don't have a problem. I spoke to a parent about it once and he said, well, he eats fine in front of the TV, and that will stick with me forever because it was a huge lightbulb moment that explained everything. No shoes in the house. As a person with allergies, totally get this now. As a Canadian, it feels insane that anyone would ever wear shoes in the house. Even when people tell you it's fine to leave your shoes on, everyone always takes them off. Even delivery guys will take them off before coming in. It's also just gross to have shoes that have been on the street, walking through God knows what, tracking through your home. The worst is when people will go on their beds with their shoes on. Like, do you really like having shit and or piss on where you're sleeping? I used to think it was stupid that my mom deep cleaned the house before guests came, especially my paternal grandparents, her in-laws. I said, it's kind of like lying, right? Like pretending that the house looks like this all the time. She kept a super clean house as it was, and my dad had a rule against things being left on surfaces such as the coffee table or kitchen table, so I thought she was just being dramatic and stressing herself out for no reason. Edit, when I said that I think I was 8 or 9 years old, I definitely realized the benefit of a pre-guest clean now. Last year, my husband and I hosted Christmas, and I was literally cleaning for the entire week up until an hour before they arrived. I had the dame thought that it was lying, or putting on some kind of front. But my mom pointed out that it's not lying when you put on a suit and some cologne for a nice event. You're just presenting yourself in the best light. I always viewed it as being respectful to our guests. In the same way I'd want to take a shower before spending time with someone. There's the self-dirt, that's okay for me. And there's being respectful to someone else that there's no dirt. Exactly. And it's not lying. There's no need to pretend your house looks like that all the time, you can even say it out loud. It's making the house comfortable for the guests and yourself. I honestly would hate it if I visited someone for an occasion and the toilet was shitty, kitchen stank like trash, and there's dust everywhere. I don't feel comfortable sitting in other people's dirt, it's disgusting. The place doesn't need to be perfectly spotless at all, but just clean up the most obvious things and I'm happy. The cleaner the better, though, so if I have the time and energy, I will deep clean everything. And I expect some courtesy from others. If you are going to invite me to a messy, dirty, hoarder-type filthy house, I'm not coming. You are welcome to my house instead, I will make it comfy for both of us. I agree, except I'd make the distinction between being clean and being tidy. Guests shouldn't have to encounter filth like dirty dishes and bathrooms, but an overly tidy home makes me feel uncomfortable, like I'm in a museum and I'm not to touch anything. A house feels more comfortable and cozy if it feels like someone actually lives there. That's my personal experience and also feedback I've gotten from guests. Shoes off at the door. Our kids have that rule. Mostly because they'll usually have dirty shoes filled with sand. There was a kid in my preschool class who absolutely filled his shoes with sand every day before pickup time. I'm sure that I didn't notice quickly, as we weren't super tight, but I know that he did it for weeks at a minimum. It turns out that this visionary dude was trying to build a sandbox in his backyard, and he'd go dump his shoe sand in the same place each day before coming inside. His mom eventually caught him filling his shoes and confronted him about it. She laughed with a mixture of embarrassment and complete delight at how funny it was, and he was so disappointed that his scheme had come to an end. The juxtaposition of their faces was pure gold. I hope that now 38-year-old guy is doing well. What a creative dude. My mother made sure my sibling and me could survive in the adult world. She made sure we could cook, basic recipes, do laundry, balance a checkbook, always hates that job, iron clothes and basic hand sewing. These skills also helped when I was in the military. I would iron uniforms for personnel inspections. Charged $15 per uniform, it was mid-80s. I reattached a button for someone and they thought I was a sorcerer or something. When my son was little he would constantly tear holes in the knees of his school uniform pants. At the age of 8 he started helping me repair them. By age 9 he was responsible for patching all holes in the knees. He is absolutely able to sew. Not beautifully and not well, but he can do it. He also learned very quickly to wear shorts most of the time lol.